96.5 Inner FM. Welcome back to 90s Throwback on this Saturday night. We're celebrating and having a bit of a reunion for the Kix-fm guys and, of course, the Hits guys. But for now, let's get into some of the Kix stuff. It gives me my great pleasure to one of the... to me, he was one of the main guys. He did a lot of work, a lot of years there at Kix-fm and helped them along. And together with RDK, I think everyone will agree with me that this man, Alex Dislexia, he's here in the studio. How are you, Alex?
I'm well, thank you very much. It's fantastic to sit in front of a microphone again after so many years. I've really missed it, to say the least, to be honest, Dennis.
Yeah, it's been a few years for yourself, mate. But I know the feeling. I've been here involved at Inner FM for quite a long time now. And I guess it gave us a little bit of an outlet after the Kicks and Hits days. But
right.
It's just it's one of those things. I don't know. Some people, you can't get it out of their blood. So
you're a gem, mate. You're a professional at it. I should learn from you now.
When did you start at Kix? What year was that now?
Boy, let's have a think about that.
In those days,
the good old days, as they say.
Yeah.
Well, look, to be honest, I started back in it was 1995. June of 1995, I believe it would have been. It was actually quite funny when I first stepped into the Kix studios. Look, let's backtrack a little bit first. My first interest with Kix-fm was sitting in my bedroom one night, listening to RDK and the Squidgy King, as he was known back then, doing the Kix 26 countdown.
Yep.
I was just there sitting in my bedroom, and I've studied media in the past. I had done a few courses when I was a lot younger, and radio was one of them. And so therefore, there was the interest in radio. And I thought, geez, I'd love to, just somehow be involved, even if I just volunteer for a month, a week,
Yep.
And I decided to. I heard the advert or a sponsorship announcement for people that wanted to ring up and participate in volunteering, and I thought, you know what, why not? So I picked up the phone and dialed, and one of the
what was the number?
Do you know what? I can't remember. That's how far back it was. We're talking over 20 years here, my friend.
How many times you would have read that number out on here?
Well, the numbers did change probably 2 or 3 times in the time that I was involved with Kix. But anyway, long story short, I was invited to the Kix studios the following day, which was in Queen Street, broadcast number 3. A young fella by the name of Reese, who was their music director at the time.
Yep.
He said to me, well, yeah, how did you want to be involved? I said, well, look, I know I don't want to go jump on air right now, but I'd just like to start from scratch, probably administration, and work my way up from there. And he goes, all right, go answer the phones. So basically I was stuck for a whole broadcast answering phones and writing down messages and passing it on into the studios. But when I got interviewed by our station manager at the time, and also Reese, the music director, I walked in there with a leather jacket, Iron Maiden T-shirt and a ponytail. So here is this bloke from St Albans, a headbanger from St Albans, and you could just imagine the looks I would have gotten.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone was from the eastern suburbs back in those days, and RDK, he was there, one of the committee members at the time as well. And
did you go on air at that time? So not presenting a program, but by answering the phones, did they put you on air to say?
Well, that was the big thing at Kix-fm. It gave the opportunity for the just general volunteers to participate and go on air, and I had the opportunity to jump on air and read out all the messages. I believe the first time ever that I jumped on air with anyone there at Kix-fm was with Arthur Koustas. In actual fact, he was the first person that trained me up to talk on air. And
wow.
Yeah, so I owe a bit to him, actually quite a fair bit to him.
He's a good man.
Yeah, so he's a good bloke. Yeah, I miss his company.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's great that you can make friends out of Kix as well, like you said about it. Look, that's what community radio is about, right? We've got to engage with the community and get people involved, and it's exactly what you guys did so well. Like you said, just off the street, knock on the door, give it a crack, and
how easy was it for me? For instance, I just rang up the following day. They asked me to come in, and there you go. The rest was history.
So eventually, once you got on air and had your own program and that, I know you're on the Kix 26, but...
Well, no, I actually co-presented with Arthur Koustas. In actual fact, we did a graveyard shift together back in 1996. At that time, we were at the Collins Street premises, and we had a ball. And as you can imagine, know this as well, that when you do a graveyard shift at any radio station, you've got a bit more freedom to do what you like.
Yeah.
And it turned out that way. We spent 6 hours of just, cracking up laughing and making people laugh. And we had a lot of listeners that, that rang in that made us laugh as well. And that was my first show, the graveyard shift, 12 a.m. to 6 a.m.
Is that your favourite time, or can you pick one thing? It doesn't have to be on air, but most of it was with you guys because it was so much fun. You could hear it listening at home. But your favourite time at Kix, what was it, you think?
Overall?
Yep.
Okay. Well, obviously doing the Kix 26 countdown was the ultimate for me.
No scripts there, was it? That was just pure fun with you and Artie.
To be honest with you, no shows on Kix-fm was virtually scripted.
Yeah.
No one. I mean, the only thing that would have been scripted was the format, the music format.
Yeah,
we knew what time to play what.
Yep.
But in terms of what we said and how we did it, no, it was a free for all back then, within reason. But it was a free for all.
Of course. The other thing that both stations were renowned for, in my eyes too, is we put a lot of singers or bands on the map. Whether it be a DJ or just a singer in general. What's your favourite song that you remember of the time that you would know you'd only hear it on Kix when they came on broadcast?
Wow!
Can you remember your favourite song?
So many.
I know.
There are so many. I'd like to think that Kix-fm took credit to many songs in terms of their popularity, that is.
Yep.
I'd like to think that Anne Lee 2 Times, for as much as we thought about that song as being a daggy song at the time when it first came out.
Yep.
It was funny though. Transistor Music, the crew from Transistor Music, they came into the Kix studios with a box full of music and say, well, look, if you can play any of this, at least one would be happy. And we said, all right. So Artie and I and a few of the other music directors there as well. We had a music committee, not music directors. I'm sorry. We all sat down pre-broadcast and selected a few songs. Now, Artie goes to me, "Oh, let me play this one for you. Have a listen to this." So he played Anne Lee 2 times, and we both looked at each other and thought, "Is this going to work?" We weren't too confident about it, but one thing going for that song was that it was a pretty boppy song.
Yeah, it was bouncy. Yeah.
And we knew all the Marios out there would love it. You know what I mean? If I can use that term.
Doing the chap laps?
Yeah, the chap laps.
Back in the day.
So and the rest was history with that song. We played it. And it just went to number one in Victoria. And then the rest of the nation. Yeah, we were the first ones to play Anne Lee. Yeah. And no one else wanted to play it. Yeah. You also had, we had that Schumacher song back in '99. No other radio station dared to play it, but it always reached number one on the Kix 26. The amount of requests.
To be fair, there were a few songs like that, which is great. That's what we all loved about Kix. One other big thing you guys did a lot of was Kix mixes. You got a favourite?
Oh, geez, I'd have to say Kix mix number 14. 12 and 14, I think, were my favourite. And I think a lot had to do with the fact that Manny was behind it. DJ M, as he was known back then. Yep. Manny was our music director.
Yep.
And our production manager as well. Artie K did play a big part in being music director, with the assistance of DJ M. And also, but Manny was basically. He was the main man in terms of all the production work and stuff like that. And the way he put the mixes together was just fabulous. Yeah. Taking nothing away from Pro DJ, they were fabulous. Yeah. They had a great team behind them putting all the mixes together before that. But I think that Manny did a fantastic job. And the music selection was just fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, you could listen for the music, but you listen how it was put together and all the extra bits that he puts into it. It was amazing. So have we learned about Cynthia Phillips? What's her real name?
Yes, China Phillips. Yeah. Well, the amazing.
Artie, we'd be proud of you, mate. You got it right.
The amazing thing is that they allowed me to, back announce her name as Cynthia Phillips for weeks on end. Without telling me, right? And they thought that one day we'll get him on this, and they certainly did.
And you had nowhere to say, it was one mistake. You were just doing
that's
it.
Right.
That you really knew that. Thought that's what it was.
And Artie always just kept on saying, you're just dyslexic. You're just dyslexic. So the name stuck, Alex Dislexia.
All right. Speaking of names, I'm gonna give you a name, and I just want you to tell me a little bit about the bloke and what you think of him. And it's, of course, Artie K. I think we've all got so much respect for him and what he did for Kix and made us so much happiness for us for the times you guys were on air. But you knew what he did behind the scenes too.
Right.
Your take.
All right. Look, although in the end that Kix-fm weren't granted the full-time licence, I will say this, that the success that Kix-fm enjoyed, especially towards the last 3 to 4 years, would have to credit it mostly to RDK, I think. And I say that, and I'm saying this with a lot of emotion, even after so many years.
Yeah, I can see.
Yeah, look, the moment that guy walked through the door, it's not just so much just his knowledge that resonated through those four walls.
Yep.
It was also his charisma, his personality. He always gave everybody a fair go. I've got RDK on a personal level to thank for my contribution to Kix-fm mostly. What RDK saw in me initially, nobody else did at that time at the radio station. And I wouldn't say he begged our station manager at the time and even the committee at the time to put me on air, but there is something that he saw in me that thought, you know what, this guy can make it entertaining for us. And, when I got the approval from our manager and also the committee to do the 12 till 4 slot, the lunchtime slot basically, Monday to Friday, Artie pulled me up off air on the phone and he said, Alex, whatever you do, just don't let me down. And I go, whoop, all right. And I'd like to believe that I never did.
I don't think so, mate. You did so well with it all. It came up so well. It was so funny. The whole thing, every time you guys got together on that Kix 26, it was just amazing, mate.
He's just a brilliant fellow. Look, you just have to be in his presence, and he's got this aura about him. He's an incredible man. I couldn't say enough about him. We became best of mates at the time. And I'd like to still believe that we, after 16 years since Kix-fm's been off air, that we've continued on this strong bond together. Yeah. Even he's now got a family. He, he's got lovely kids. He's got a beautiful wife. And
do you remind him that he's older than you?
You know what? Funny you mention that because I'm older than him.
Are you?
I am indeed. In actual fact, I'm probably I was probably the oldest there for many years.
Oh wow!
Only by 1 or 2 years.
I'm telling you, I reckon everyone thought Artie was older.
Yeah, well, yeah,
or one of the oldest there.
I think it must be that monobrow. It's probably aged him about 10 years.
Yeah, it's the ethnic in him, we'll say. Yeah. All right, the other thing you are heavily involved with, which to me is fantastic, and it's a way that we can all sort of keep in touch, is with Facebook. You've got a group set up now. Is that open to anyone that's been involved at Kix? Or?
Yep. Initially, it was just open to people who participated with Kix-fm, i.e. the immediate volunteers and management, etc., etc. But no, look, now it's just free for all. I've only just created that recently, just a couple of years now. So if you'd like to get onto it, by all means, if I'm permitted to. Go. It's Kix-fm. And also in brackets, New Gen Radio Inc.
And you'll come up with it. So it's closed, isn't it? But you just allow me?
Yeah. You just make the request to join the group, and and if I think you're not just a pretty face, then I'll let you through.
Get into it, guys, because there's a lot of great. Everyone's posting a tune that they remember from back in the day, and
there's old music there to reminisce with. There's also a few grabs from the old days, all the presenters mucking around, a few bloopers from the old days. Yeah. There's also RDK's final speech, which is a very emotional speech.
Yep, I might play that a little bit of that later. Went on for a bit, but it was fantastic if you can sit down and listen to it all, which if you get online, get into the Facebook group and you can listen to it in full, but we'll play a little bit of it later.
If you pay attention to it, right towards the end, he starts getting emotional. Yeah. And he's never lived that one down. He's a crybaby.
He's got to walk around like he's a boss there.
Yeah, but if it was an Academy Award speech, I tell you what, it would have gone down as one of the best speeches. Yeah, it was really a touching speech.
Yeah. Yourself, what are you up to these days, mate? Are you ruling the world?
No, well, look, I'm not ruling the world. I do my own thing away.
Neither am I, mate. Don't worry.
I do my own thing away from radio now. I'm not into in the broadcasting industry anymore in any shape or form. I know, and I've been pulled up on this. 16 years ago, when we said our final goodbyes on air, we've had the occasional person say, "Well, you did say that you'll be back in some capacity." I'd like to say that I have. I did do a bit of a stint in Melton Radio, and that's as far as I went. I did a show in Melton, one of their local community radio stations, just to sort of like get back onto the mic for a little bit. But that only lasted for probably 6 to 8 months, and then I thought, you know what, this isn't me anymore. And look, we were all hurt back in the days that Kix-fm weren't granted that full-time licence. Yeah. We all put so much into it. that I just believed at the time, and still do to a certain degree, that I've had my time in radio. What else could I say? I'm not married. I'm still single. Woohoo! I'm still an eligible bachelor.
9457 1718, ladies. We'll start a bit of that too.
Look, I just believe I haven't found Mrs. Right, I think, or Miss Right. I just, I'm pretty comfortable within myself, and still living the party life. I still go out and party and enjoy the club scene, and
still go to Heat.
Well, if it was still open, yes. Inflation nightclub.
Oh, I remember the days, mate.
Inflation is still going on.
Yeah. Nothing amazing. Like it was, though, when we were growing up, mate.
No, from what I hear, it's not.
Yeah. Well, mate, look, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you here, part of this. You remember some months ago when I flicked it around to you and asked, can I firstly, put Kix there and try and bring you guys in it? I thought on my behalf, I was never heavily involved in both stations, but I love them both with a passion. That I love the music, and I loved how we could all connect. And we spoke about this off air, about how we've always felt different listening to Hits and Kicks because of we could connect with you guys. What
Kix-fm did, particularly within those last 3 or 4 years, as I said, what Kix-fm did in that time was just second to none.
Yep.
All the Kix visits your schools, all those huge underages at Kix-fest and all that sort of stuff. That was huge.
Yep.
It wasn't a money-making thing. Look, it was purely and simply for the community. We donated some of that money to charity. As well as pay our costs for the broadcast.
Exactly. I'll say one thing, mate. It's a bit hypocritical, I reckon, in some ways, because we did all that to aim for the youth and connect to the youth, and that was the basis of the license, but then it never eventuated. And that's where I think it comes back where you say it hurts, because you guys put all the hard work in, did all that, and it didn't eventuate, and it's so unfortunate for Melbourne radio.
It hurt particularly because we loved it so much. It resonated on air that we loved it, and I think that was part of Kix-fm's success. The fact that people out there in Melbourne could feel it, can hear it, that we were enjoying ourselves. And they wanted to be a part of it. They felt like they were a part of it. And 100%. It's a shame that we can't do that anymore.
100%, mate. But you're welcome here anytime, mate.
I appreciate that, Dennis. Yes. Are you sure?
Oh, mate.
I think you'll regret that eventually.
No. We'll get you in again sometime soon, hopefully. And it's a 6-hour program special I'm doing here together with Rita Young, and Peter McGrady's coming up later on with some trance. How we started trance, wasn't it? That's when I reckon we all connected with it. It just was never around. It was underground back then. But
what would you think started trance off? I remember Marmion. Remember Marmion? Schomburg and all that? I tell you what.
Roos.
Yes.
Legend B. And
anyway, geez, that's going back, isn't it?
They're all coming up. Paul Van Dyke's another one. I mean, he was always popular, but how popular he got because the stations were playing his stuff. For an Angel, and all the best in the future, mate. We'll catch up soon.
Thank you, Dennis, and thanks for having me. I'd love to come back again at some capacity and talk some crap with you again.
I'll show you how to use the coffee machine, mate. All good. All right, back to the music, guys, on 96.5.